I went to church this week. I've not been to a church in a long time, but I grew up going to church here and there. And, you know, we never were strong church members, but, you know, where my dad lives, my grandparents went to that church, and my dad went, and my aunt Kat went there, my cousin Charlotte went there, and Kelly and Brandon, and my family went to this church. And I was a part of it. I went there as a kid, you know, and then off and on through my teens, I was in church and went to various churches with my mom, and then I went to different things, campus life, and so I just wanted my daughter to see what church is. Now, I wasn't into the church that we went to, and I may not ever find it. Someone commented on my Twitter because I watched a superhero movie that I liked. I'd like to talk about that. And he said, oh, it's good to finally see that you like something that came out in the last 30 years. And I think, you know, he was joking, and I was joking a little bit back with him, but I think he thought I was taking it more serious, and maybe I was. But I think that's kind of how I feel about a lot of churches, too, is it's like, you know, I wish they were a little more old school. This one had a guy playing guitar and another guy playing keyboard, and the guy playing guitar and the guy playing keyboard, they were very good. And the guy playing guitar was also singing. Great voice, really good. But the songs were so dramatic and sad, and they were all about how we need Jesus, right? And I agree that we do. More than anything, I agree that we do. But I just feel like when you're in the church, the song should be like praising Jesus. You know, I just feel like we're there to worship, you know, so it should be songs of praise. And I just felt like these were sadder songs. These were songs about our needs versus about our thanks. And then the preacher came out, and, you know, he's dressed, you know, he's an older guy, I don't know, probably my age, or a little older maybe younger, who knows. But he's a middle-aged guy, and he's, you know, dressed hip, shirt unbuttoned, denim shirt unbuttoned, sleeves rolled back a little bit, seeing the tattoo there on the lower arm. I know a lot of Christians have tattoos. I'm not hating on it. I'm not into it, especially from the preacher. I'm not into it. Just a little bit of an old school Southern Christian in me, I think, but I'm not into it. And and then, you know, he was and he comes out after we've listened to two long, very drawn out, somber songs. He comes out and he goes, all right, how we doing? And everybody just kind of gives, you know, and he's like shocked that the crowd's not amped. And I'm like, well, this music just brought us down. It felt like you brought us down into a low vibration of sadness. And then you go, oh, how we doing? You turn the lights up real bright, and you go, how you doing? And it's like, well, we're a little sad right now. And but me and my daughter are there, and then he starts talking about, you know, the 10 Commandments, and you know, I guess they've been going through this series where they've been going through them. So he grazed over the first 4. In the end, I felt like I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what this podcast episode has turned into, but I just felt like I was like, even through all, because I was praying to myself in my pew there. I'm like, praying to not be so righteous in myself, to be like, oh, here we go, just talking about stuff I already know about, you know. I was praying that I wouldn't be like that I would hear the message. And it just really felt like, even though I wasn't so impressed with the church, I wasn't so impressed with the preacher, no offense to that preacher, they could be a listener of my podcast for all I know. And I just saw one of their sermons. You could come see one of my comedy shows and it not be my best show. And you go, That's the guy people like? They like that guy? So I'm not judging him. I'm just I'm being honest. Through all that, God was still able to get a message to me that I needed to hear on that day. And I drove to this church. This church is very close to my house. I drove to the church, and there was no one in the parking lot. And I go, well, that's weird. And then I pulled up to their sign, and their sign said they were temporarily meeting somewhere else. And I was in that moment, I was like, I'm not even going to go. That's 10 minutes. I'm going to be late now. I'm not even going to go. And then I thought, nah, I really want my daughter to go. So I'm going to do it. And I did. And I was glad I did. And I appreciated the message. And if you're a listener of my podcast, I'm sorry I've said those things about you. But I'm just old school about my church. You know, I like a choir. I like to see those people come out of that back room in those robes, and I like to pull a hymnal out of the pew and read along with it, you know, and sing along. I like that. I like an old lady on an organ just playing and on the piano. I don't know which one. I don't know the difference, but I like it. That's what I like. And then I like, I like them just getting down, and then I like them leaving, going back to the back, taking off their robes, and then slowly slipping into the congregation to sit with their family. And then an old preacher to come out in a suit and deliver a message that whether he's right or wrong, whether he has any seminary background, he has some passion behind it and feels like he has the Holy Spirit power in them. These days, it feels like a lot of preachers are they're real sweet talking and they're real cool, you know. I don't like a cool preacher. I like a rugged guy that's been through it. I feel like this guy's been through the mud. But as I was just shown, these people, they're only vessels. And I got to not focus on the vessel and focus on what's inside the vessel. The spirit that lives inside of them. And that's a message to me. That's something that I need to accept. That's something I got to reckon with out here. You know what I mean?